Welcome to Big Red Leads. I'm Big Red, getting you and your business back to the black. Today, I want to touch base on something that touches everyone and anyone who has any type of social media or is a human being who's breathing. Perspective. And a lot of times we overlook this because we're not thinking about it because it doesn't affect us until it actually happens. Whether it's good, bad, something happens, something occurs, something goes on in your life, and you're not really thinking about it because someone said or gave you advice who doesn't relate or doesn't connect directly to what you're talking about. Let me give you a couple examples of what I'm speaking on. Getting advice about marriage from a single person. Most people would not take advice from that individual. Why? Because they're single. They're not married, haven't been married, not even engaged. Would you take advice from that person? Probably not. Um, Taking advice about money and finances from someone who has not made $100,000 before, who hasn't made any significant money. Would you take advice from that person? Someone who's never had money, never made any real money. Matter of fact, someone who works at, let's say, I don't know, I'll just throw it out there, work at Dairy Queen or works at a fast food chain and is not a supervisor or a manager. Would you take advice from that person about money? More than likely, you would not. Just due to the fact because it doesn't connect to you and it doesn't resonate with you enough to simply say, you know what, this person's perspective or this person's ideal might actually make some sense if you actually hear them out. That's what kills me about today's society because most people's attention span is less than a goldfish. So, when you really think about it, what does that mean for you? Would you take advice from someone who does not connect directly in the field of what you're looking and seeking advice for? Would you take advice from somebody who's single who's never been married about marriage? Probably not. So, understand what perspective is. I mean, it's just another way, another lens, another way of looking at something, a similar situation, a similar activity, or something that people engage in that doesn't necessarily correlate with what the way you were brought up, the way you were taught, the way you were raised to think and move. So if you're not a free thinking person or a person who has the ability to think for themselves, why would you connect to this person? That's a real question. It's a serious question because I think a lot of times we have a tendency to just overlook and look past these people. I know that I am rare in this sense. When I speak, people listen. It has nothing to do with my social media. Been that way since I was in, elementary, junior high. Adults listened to me when I was a child. One, I've learned to observe adults who were very wise and simply listen and soak up game and then add my own perspective to that. It's an amazing ability. It's one of my superpowers. Now, for you, the individuals who might be watching this, who might see this, like, share, definitely subscribe to the channel. But for you, those of you who are watching this right now, who do you know in your own life who has that ability? You have to know at least one. Someone who speaks with some gravity, some weight, and people actually listen to. Now, is their perspective always the correct one? There's no right or wrong in this. So, it's either objective or subjective. It's one of the two. So, would you take advice from that person if they gave it to you? It's not that this person is taking up space in your brain or in your mind or in your thought process, but can you take an idea from someone else's space and simply add it to, let it swirl around for a second and then let it go? Are you capable of that? Well, yes, the answer is yes. Yes, you are capable. Everyone's capable of doing that. Most people have a tendency, their attention span, like I said, is so short that they're not listening anyway. So they just freely go throughout their life and wonder why things don't work the way that they want them to, because one, they're either not putting in the work, they're not listening, they're not getting any outside perspective on what's really going on, or they just simply don't know their purpose. So they're just kind of meandering through life and hoping that everything is going to be fine, okay, and all good. They wonder why they're broke. They wonder why their relationships don't work. They wonder why they're constantly in a state and a flux of doubt within themselves, because they don't have the self-confidence and the self-awareness to simply say, maybe I should be quiet right now and listen to what this person has to say. Maybe something that this person is saying will relate and touch something in me to spark me, to get me to move in a way that is positive for me and beneficial for me in the long term. I want it now. This is the I want it now generation. Everybody wants what they want immediately, not willing to put in the work. And at the same time, with all that going on, you have everything being bombarded upon you as far as information that you don't know what's true and what's not, because you have to constantly, do a little bit more work and actually do some real research and find out for yourself. Most people are not willing to do that. It requires a little bit of discipline, a little bit of self-reflection, and a little bit of understanding that no matter what someone else thinks of me, it has nothing to do with the way I think of myself. So, I'm not saying you have to do this every day, all day. Take everyone else's perspective in. But it will not hurt you in the space of just simply knowing yourself, being connected to yourself, and understanding that someone else's way of thinking or way of seeing something could bring another possibility or a whole plethora of possibilities to an idea that I'm having that can improve my life and benefit those who are around me, those who purchase from me, those who work with me, those who I work with, the intimate relationships, the familial relationships. All these relationships are connected, and without perspective and understanding why I'm a friend to this person and I'm a friend to this person, these two individuals are on the opposite side of the spectrum. One's a scholar and an intellectual, one is a quote-unquote street urchin, but has amazing wisdom and ability to connect with human beings. That's two totally different outlooks. You got your quote-unquote, your thug and your scholar, or your academic. They're coming from the same place. One's path led them here, one's path led them here. So, it's all perspective. So, I hope this message helps today. I mean, it really wants you to open up the possibilities of what could be and what's out there and what's possible for you, simply by taking in another perspective. Doesn't mean that your goals and your dreams and if you're actually on top of your purpose and working your purpose, if you already know what that is and you're actually moving towards and moving on in taking action in towards your purpose, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, and what you truly want to do with your life, if you already know this, someone else's perspective is not going to change or alter that, because you're already tied in and connected and grounded in who you are and you know what your purpose is. But it shouldn't stop you. However, continue to grow. Everything is here for you. Use it as you must. Be truthful and honest in who you are, and understand that someone else's perspective can help, hinder, help you grow, can have you even shrink. But their opinions are just that, opinions. A perspective is just a way of looking at something. Understand the difference. Love you all. Hope this message helps. Talk soon. This is Big Red Leads. Have a great, great, great day.